After reviewing all 40 episodes of Alex Hirsch's Gravity Falls, which you can click on the card above if you missed, it's now time to do an overview over the entire series. While this will definitely feel a bit off due to the fact that the show only has 2 seasons, I'm still going to do top and bottom 4 episodes, say which season I find better, and give the show as a whole a score. Also, I'm going to address the series as a whole and review the series' long story. So, enough introduction, let's go ahead and jump into the worst 4 episodes of the series. Number 4, Little Gift Shop of Horrors. So starting off, we have the second episode to be split into smaller stories. And while Bottomless Pit was just boring, this episode manages to also portray the Pines as terrible people, which makes them hard to root for the rest of the show. Number 3, The STANCHURIAN Candidate. This episode specializes in making the twins specifically look terrible. Besides the cruelty of mind control, this episode also lacks any jokes beyond politics bad. Gideon's return is handled poorly, the Stanford feud is pushed to the side, and the only well-executed part of the episode is shoehorned in at the credits. Number 2, WEIRDMAGEDDON 2, Escape from Reality. So I talked about this episode extensively in my last video, so I won't bore you again, but just to generalize, it destroys Mabel's character, brings down Seuss and Wendy's season-long arcs, and slows down the pace of the entire finale. Probably the most damaging episode to the legacy of the series, in my opinion. Number 1, Roadside Attraction. After that last statement, you might find it surprising that this episode is on top or bottom of this list. But this episode culminates in such a terrible scene that it's hard to put it anywhere else. It takes Dipper's Wendy arc and throws it in the trash, and then burns the trash for 22 minutes while we're forced to watch. Although all 4 episodes from that list are on the second season, so are the top 4 episodes that are coming up on this list. I'll get into the whole highest highs and lowest lows aspect of the second season in a second, but first, speaking of the top 4 episodes, number 4, Dipper and Mabel vs. the Future. This episode kicks off the effective 4-part finale, and spoiler, is the only part on this list. While I like parts 1 and 3, the prelude is fantastic from start to end. Mabel's life falling apart while Dipper gets his dream opportunity allows the characters to shine in ways they never really had. Mabel is written especially well here, and it makes for an emotional finale to the episode. Number 3, Society of the Blind Eye. This episode is split into 2 parts, fun goofy adventure and emotional heartbreaking realizations. Both parts excel as the show turns the goofiest character in the show into one of the best scenes of the entire show. It's exceedingly impressive and a fantastic adventure for our characters. Number 2, Seuss and the Real Girl. Gravity Falls is often remembered for its deep mystery and emotional character dynamics, but most of the series is hilarious gags, and no episode showcases this better than Seuss and the Real Girl. Seuss has some hilarious bits, the video game parody is done exceedingly well, and the twins make for incredibly fun supporting characters. Number 1, Not What He Seems. This episode is not only peak Gravity Falls, but also just peak television. In order to tell the story that Gravity Falls wants to tell, revealing its biggest mystery of the show had to be done 3/4 of the way in. Meaning that instead of also having to wrap up the show, this episode is able to spend 22 minutes being filled with fantastic moments from intro to credits. The ending scene is one of the best scenes I've ever seen, and the reveal of the author could not have been handled better. It's an easy number 1. So this is where I would usually rank the seasons, but I'm not really going to waste your time. The second season's just better. It takes the first season, which was mostly filled with one-off episodes, and builds upon it, making it better in nearly every conceivable way. While the higher aspirations makes the blunders worse, out of 20 episodes, half of them earned perfect scores. So yeah, the second season is better, no surprises there. Anyway, let's get into the complete series review. First off, let's talk about the humor. The show's just ridiculously funny, and both visual and verbal jokes. The characters make for fantastic gags, and Alex Hirsch's litany of voices rarely fail comedically. It's just one of the funniest cartoons ever made, and it's hard to elaborate any further. Anyway, into the overall story. While I could go over how Bill Cipher is a fantastic villain, how the twists are increasingly engaging, and how the culmination of WEIRDMAGEDDON is perfect, I've largely covered that in previous reviews, especially last episodes. What I really want to focus on is how the show perfected storytelling in episodic form. While many cartoons, especially those of the 2010s, have overarching stories and episodic stories, and the overarching stories take over towards the end of the show, no show does it as well as Gravity Falls. The show manages to have a fantastic story that rarely drags, and a variety of iconic episodes, all while balancing the 2 storytelling methods. The mystery being hinted at in smaller episodes before exploding in the big ones is, in my opinion, the best way to do a story like this if you have episodes airing kind of weekly. So yeah, story and humor-wise, the show excels. The visuals are probably technically the weakest part of the show, but they certainly aren't anything terrible, and the backgrounds was vastly improved in the more cinematic of shots. But yeah, the show's fantastic, with only a few problem episodes hidden throughout the seasons. For an overall rating, I'm giving the show a 9 out of 10. The first season is notably worse, and the aforementioned problem episodes keep it from a 10. But for a 40-episode show, Gravity Falls manages to fit in a whole load of quality. So that's it. I've talked about Gravity Falls for over 2 hours now, so I'll leave it here. As for what I'll do next, I'll have an update video out next month. Anyway, this has been AmpleSamuel, and I'll see you next year. Thanks for watching.